Hey, what is up everybody? I'm here to give you a video. Now I have to be a little bit quiet because my parents are sleeping, so you're gonna have to excuse that. Yeah, this is I know it's like 2 in the morning, well 2:30ish, but I really wanted to get this video out. I really wanted to watch this. You can tell from the title down below that I'm going to be talking about the thing that came on the network tonight, and it's Edge and Christian Smackdown15 anniversary show that totally reeks of awesomeness review. Long title, but whatever. And they even tried to do like a hashtag with it. They were going to hashtag the show, or you could have tweeted, but they had to shorten it up obviously because you wouldn't have even had enough characters to make this show. And you got hashtag Edge and Christian instead. And I thought this was fucking hilarious. I might be the only one that thinks that, but actually maybe not. I can see you guys can find this fucking appealing, but I thought this was fucking hilarious. I thought this was awesome stuff. I thought they were going to be like in serious mode, just showing clips of SmackDown, giving their thoughts on it, but that wasn't the fucking case. They were fucking hilarious tonight, and I thought that was awesome. And I thought they really added a lot to the show, because you only get like somebody like a Josh Matthews, or somebody boring that does these, and well, they just like do it just to do it. They just show you instead, and they just talk about the facts, but they didn't do that. They were actually entertaining tonight, Edge and Christian, and I thought that was awesome. It was nice to see them back together again. It brought up a lot of memories. I know I wasn't technically growing up when I saw them as a tag team, but I've watched clips in the past, and it brought up a lot of memories of these clips. So, thought this was awesome. And it starts out where a lot of the times they're bickering at each other, and Edge and Christian Christian wanted to originally start off with the first episode of SmackDown. Since it's the first episode, Edge is like, we're not going to be like that. We're going to start off, that's just too predictable, too boring. We're going to start off we're just going to do it our way. And Edge is going to say, we're going to start it off for when I won the tag team titles. And Christian's like, don't you mean when we won the tag team titles? And he's like, no, when I won the tag team titles. But I'm pretty sure we won the tag team titles. And they go back and forth, but then it's like, no, I'm referring to the fact of when I beat Hulk Hogan for me and Hulk Hogan won the tag team titles. And they were like, and Christian was like, oh, and then they play the clip, and I actually wrote it down so I won't forget it. It's called Red, White, and Gold, considering the fact, because this took place on the 4th of July in 2002. And I'm not really going to cover like the moment, because I want to save those, because I'm probably going to review these episodes in the future. But Hulk Hogan and Edge had beaten Billy and Chuck for the tag team titles, and it was a big happy moment. And afterwards, Edge is doing a Hulk Hogan impression. He's just pretending to be Hulk Hogan. I thought it was funny stuff. And then he's like, how did you get that in here? Was that in your pockets? And Edge is like, no, it was in my carry-on. And then Christian says, well, I brought a prop of my own. And he brings the old World Heavyweight Championship. And he's like, I won this twice. And then they go back and forth saying, I won this twice. And Edge is like, well, I've held that 9 times. And then Christian's like, well, quality beats quantity. And then they talk about Brock Lesnar and Big Show, and they start saying his name like Paul Heyman, like Brock Lesnar, and they say we should just say his name like that from now on. So I thought that was funny. And then Edge and they play the clip of the collapse, and that happened on June 12th, 2003, and that was when Brock Lesnar and Big Show broke the ring. Epic moment. I thought that was awesome, and they thought it was awesome too. And then afterwards, Edge and Christian are talking, and then they pull out the kazoos. They remember the old times because I guess they used it to play kazoos, and Edge and Christian just start playing the kazoos to like certain songs and stuff, and Edge is like, no, we need to play to what the newer fans would know, because they were playing to like this was awesome. And then the Wyatt family's thing goes off, which consists of Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper. And you see Edge wearing Eric Rowan's sheep mask, and Christian's playing the harmonica to the Wyatt family's theme song. And Christian's like, hey, you're not taking your kazoo playing skills seriously. I take my kazoo playing skills seriously. I have gotten good. And Edge is like, well, prove it. And then he does. He shows him, and then he makes the kazoo sound like it's Stone Cold Steve Austin's glass thing that goes off when they start to come out with this theme song. And I thought that was awesome. Obviously it was special effects, but I thought it was awesome. He's like, yeah, we need a little bit of Stone Cold in this video series. And they all played Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme song on the kazoo. I thought this was awesome, really funny. The next one is Turned Down for What? And it has it in quotation marks. And obviously, you know, Turned Down for What's an actual name of a song. But this took place on April 27th, 2000. This was when Stone Cold Steve Austin had come out and destroyed the DX, which consisted of Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, the New Age Outlaws, the Road Dogg Jesse James, and the Badass Billy Gunn. And a lot of the members of DX and Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon were there too. And it was when Stone Cold Steve Austin just completely destroyed the DX Express. Then they decide to, they're just like, hey, I haven't forgotten about the first episode of Smackdown. And Christian's like, well, that's because I told you about. That's because I brought it up in the beginning and I originally wanted to do it earlier. And then they do the walk stand, and they're like, how does he do the, how does he, you know, the occasional when he raises his eyebrow, I can't really do it. Yeah, I can't do it, my eyebrows are like in sync with each other. And they're just like, he must be double jointed. And Christian's like, he must be double jointed because he's trying to do it. And they play the clip of the very first Smackdown, and this took place, and this was called 15 Years of Laying It Down. And it happened on August 26, 1999. And it showed the match, but the the World Wrestling Federation, which stands for WWF at the time, championship match between Triple H and The Rock, and Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee. And this was when Shawn Michaels screwed The Rock out of winning the WWF title, and Triple H retained. Thought that was good, and it showed other stuff too. And then it came back, and they talked about sure I get this right. They talked about all the costumes that they wore before, like Elvis, how they came out and made fun of the Hardy Boys, which consists of Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, how they came out dressed like like all these costumes. And then they talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this one's called Terminated. Happened on November 11th, 1999, and this was when Arnold Schwarzenegger came on SmackDown, and he and Vince McMahon had given him a replica version of the WWF Championship, and he did commentary for a match, and Triple H was involved in that match, and he had taken up the referee, so Arnold Schwarzenegger helped him out and handed him a chair. Handed Stone Cold Steve Austin a chair, and Stone Cold hit him with the Triple H with the chair, and Triple H afterwards tried to get a cheap shot at Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger just beat the crap out of Triple H. It was actually pretty funny. I'm probably gonna watch that SmackDown in the future. And then afterwards, you see just Edge by himself, and he cuts in the theater, and he's like, "Now I need to get serious." And he's like, and Christian's just putting all this stuff like the plague of spiders serious, and he's like, "That's serious. Well, but I need to get serious about this. I need to talk about suckage." And he brings up all the stuff that sucks that's happened on SmackDown, like how John Heidenreich's about Jonathan Heidenreich's poem, about Jillian Hall sinning, about the boogeyman's big eating habits, and then he goes, and Michael Cole's commentary, and Christian says he's a tool, and he's like, yes he is, and then they're gonna look back at the clips of everything that it sucked. That's the alarm to go watch this, by the way, because it was gonna be on again at 2 in the morning. Let me make sure I dismissed it. Okay. Oh, I didn't. Okay. So then they play all the stuff that sucked, and I think Edge had talked about how he had made, and Christian even had brought up the fact that he made out with Vicky Guerrero, and so this was a happily never after, and it was just everything that pretty much sucked. John Heidenreich reading the poem to Michael Cole in the locker room. Billy and Chuck getting married. Edge and Vicky Guerrero's wedding. What else? That sucked. Teddy Long and Crystal's wedding. That really wasn't that great. And when Teddy Long had proposed to her, everything that sucked pretty much. On SmackDown, and I thought it was kind of cool that they showed the shitty stuff, and then they talked about championship pursuits. I don't really remember what they did like as a funny skit. I think Christian talked about how he wanted to be on Haven, and Edge is like, that's not going to happen. Oh, I remember what they said. That was before Christian had talked about it. He's like, I'd rather see a DVD on the Great Khali's greatest matches, and he talked about how he'd rather see Paul Heyman in some sort of outfit that wouldn't look good. And then Christian talked about how he wanted to be on Haven. He says, I'll make some adjustments. And then they show people winning the a gold rush, and it's anybody that has won a title on SmackDown. And this was actually pretty cool. It showed Vince McMahon beating Triple H for the WWF title. I think Gerald Briscoe beating Crash Holly for the Hardcore title while he was sleeping. I did see that clip on YouTube. It was really funny. When Mankind and The Rock, who were known as The Rock and Sock Connection, won the tag team titles. They were called the WWF tag team titles at the time. When Stephanie McMahon won the women's title, when Randy Orton beat Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship, just a lot of clips like that, and then that was actually really funny stuff, really cool stuff. I'd like to see a championship change hands. It was cool. And then Christian and Edge have the camera play some sort of sequence, and then when it came back, Christian was eating a sandwich, and Edge was like, why are you eating a sandwich? What are you doing? It's like, I'm eating a sandwich. And he's like, you made that? And he's like, where did you keep that? And he's like, oh, I have this grocery store that ships all my food to me. And then Edge is like, well, this isn't the crate, and he's like, this isn't well, this reminds me of the time when Stone Cold Steve Austin beat down Booker T in the grocery store. And then yeah, so then they played that clip, and it was good stuff. And then it's called Price Check on Jackass, which is a funny name, and it happened on December 13th, 2001, and it's just Stone Cold Steve Austin beating the shit out of Booker T in the grocery store. I'll go more in depth when I review that SmackDown. It was awesome though. And then they talk about Edge and Christian go on more comedy skits, and they talk about the celebrities that have come to SmackDown, like Adam Sandler, Ashton Kutcher, Rob Zombie, awesome stuff. And then they talk about Clay, the guy that's on the Packers, Clay, I forget his last name, but it was when Clay, I don't really remember his last name, you guys probably can look it up, but it was the guy on the Packers that, the Green Bay Packers that helped Edge defeat Dolph Ziggler to retain his World Heavyweight Championship. I didn't really remember this moment. I thought this was probably the worst one they played, but whatever. I want to mention too that when we go to commercials, usually wrestling comes to commercials and they come and do the Did You Knows. I usually don't like to mention these, but theirs was about Edge and Christian, and I thought theirs were awesome. Edge's was Did You Know Edge was the only superstar to successfully cash in the Money in the Bank contract on SmackDown, which isn't true because Jack Swagger cashed in the Money in the Bank successfully on Chris Jericho, so that was wrong. And they did one for Christian, like Christian's first peep show on SmackDown was in 2005. It didn't say like a specific date, but I forget. And then he says that his first guest was Rey Mysterio. Thought it was awesome. And then they talk about how that they'll never forget that moment and how they had such long hair and stuff. And they talk about how Christian talks about how Edge's hair was bad, and Edge was like, "Your hair was bad too." And Christian was like, "Yeah, I know, it's still bad." And they talk about, this was actually I think one of my favorite stuff. They talk about like someone who made his name in the WWE. It was like The Rock, and they're like, "No." Yeah, The Rock, but me and him have been always seen eye to eye. And then they say Funaki. He's like, "Oh, I hate that guy," and Chris is like, "Hate him." He's like, "But that's not the guy I'm talking about." And he's like, Mordecai, which was awesome. If you don't remember, he was like the religious version of the Undertaker. Yeah, I thought that was awesome that they had mentioned Mordecai. Just like, and then Christian says, Matt Striker, and he's like, "Even bigger, who did that guy ever beat?" And he says, "I'm talking about John Cena." So then they play the clip of when John Cena debuted on SmackDown, and it's called Hustle Loyalty Debut, and it happened on June 27th, 2002. And it was when Kurt Angle called anybody out in the locker room for an open challenge. John Cena accepted and had a match with him. I'm not going to go into who won, but yeah, I'll agree with that in the review. And then afterwards, superstars were in the ring, like The Undertaker, and they did they were all congratulating him after the match. Then afterwards, this was actually pretty funny too. I forgot to mention too that earlier on in the segment, they did they talked about how SmackDown was in the dictionary, and then they talk about how the definition of awesomeness and awesome is them, and it had a dictionary with their picture on it, which was awesome. It was like them back when they were a tag team, so it was when Christian and Edge had long hair, but mainly Christian. But we see like a puppet of Edge, and it's just Christian talking about it, and he talks about, "Oh, I abandoned my career around you," and all that stuff. It's just like, "What are you doing?" And then Christian's like, "I never really have enough time. I'm just like, oh, this is usually what I do when I talk to you, when I want to talk to you." And Edge is like, "What?" It's like, "Well, we're always busy. We never really talk to each other much. So I made this up." And Edge is like, "That is crazy, but that's not the craziest thing I've seen on SmackDown." And then they play the craziest things that they've ever seen on SmackDown. And some of them were like when the Hardys did that TLC match on SmackDown and stuff, and they would show them going through the tables. When Eddie Guerrero did the frog splash off the top of the steel cage on a JBL. And then when Rey Mysterio went off the steel cage onto Chris Jericho and Lance Storm. No, onto Lance. I think it was on Chris Jericho and Christian, I believe, or it was either on Chris Jericho and Lance Storm, I forget, or Test, or Chris Jericho and Test. I don't really remember. What else moments did they show? The Shield, which consists of Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. triple power bombing the Undertaker through the announcers table. You know, all the crazy moments. I don't really remember all of them. This is when I kind of not zoning out, but this is when I kind of started forgetting them. But it was just pretty much all the insane moments. And then afterwards, they have to do a 15-minute pose, and they have to stay in like one spot, and they have like funny hats, glasses, and hair on them, and with fake wigs on them, and they have to like, oh, remember DDP, which consists of Diamond Dallas Page's yoga, and then they do then they show kind of like this, by the way, that with all that crazy stuff, it's called Are You Kidding Me? But then they show a what's it called? Other clips like Teddy Long messing up when he was talking about like the big Smackdown that happened. And I think other crazy things too you saw was Eddie Guerrero, by the way. And Are You Kidding Me? When Eddie Guerrero poured sewer all over Big Show, but I don't really remember any other ones. But what else happened? All the then they did other stuff like Vince McMahon having a kiss Rikishi's ass. I'm just trying to remember, man. I can't really remember anything else. And this, I don't know why, I don't really remember more of the ending stuff. That's about it, I'll only remember, but it was good stuff. But then they ended it with Edge and Christian standing in that pose, and yeah, I thought it was awesome stuff. It was really funny and entertaining. I think they really made this really worth watching. I would have probably said that anyways, but they were so entertaining that I laughed at like a lot of the stuff that happened. I mean, I don't know how the hell you couldn't laugh, but I did, and I thought this was awesome shit. But that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Subscribe to this channel. I'll be back Thursday to do an NXT review. I'm starting to get tired, so I'm gonna upload this and I'll put it on Facebook maybe tomorrow or something. But that's pretty much it, guys. Peace out, and subscribe to the channel and stuff down below.